Fort Albany is on the James Bay coast. We are a remote community, so there is no road access other than for 2 or 3 months during the winter. We are here really experts at living with food insecurity.
So this is a story about food that has to travel a long way, but the food that is making a big difference to improving health in Aboriginal communities.
Being a teacher here, I could see right away that the kids, they didn't have nutrition, the kinds of nutrition that they needed each day to perform in school, just to be happy-go-lucky kids.
There's so many issues around the food security and food sovereignty, idea from traditional foods and maintaining them to access to food on a daily basis and being able to eat food that's healthy for us and afford it. And we kind of put them together under that one umbrella and decided to address it.
The market kind of started out of the student nutrition program. The kids would get the food in school, the good food, but they would go home to their houses and they wouldn't have it there. And the parents couldn't get it. It's not that they couldn't go to the store and buy it, it's just that it wasn't in the store if they wanted it.
First Nation leaders came to Food Share and said, could we help out? We saw an opportunity to share the abundance of the South in a good way.
With our arrangement, our partnership with Food Share, we make an order the week before according to their list of what they have available. They go through their buyer to the Ontario Food Terminal. The food is purchased in Toronto. They sort it out and pack it up for us, and we have it picked up by a trucking company. There are very few trucking companies that will run the route from Toronto to Cochrane, which is where we want the food to be loaded onto our freight train that comes from Cochrane up until Moosonee. So not only does that Ontario Northland freight train cut, of course, into the cost that it might be to fly from further south, but not necessarily the time. The freight train runs twice a week and it's refrigerated. So the challenge is the trucking and then the train, the schedules, because they have to come together. From Moosonee, we hire a plane. They bring it up the day that it comes up. It's all weather dependent too. True North Community Co-op out of Thunder Bay is the only co-op that has received the Nutrition North subsidy allowance, and through True North we've been able to apply the subsidy, which is applicable only to the plane component, to our foods, which allows us to bring the food price even lower than it would be.
We ship some fresh produce, what they call fresh produce. It's usually a week getting here from Toronto. This stuff obviously is fresher, you followed it up, whereas normally it would be over a week before it got to its destination.
Most of the groceries for these communities on the James Bay coast are handled through northern stores, and they use air Quebec, and a lot of that stuff comes right from Cochrane.
Once it gets here to Fort Albany off of the planes, we unload it, we take it to wherever we're holding the market. It's been at the school. Yesterday was the first time we'd done it upstairs in the community hall. Our volunteers and workers help us out with that. No matter what, there just always seems to be a mad scramble before opening time.
So whether it is the food deserts of Toronto or the food deserts of James Bay, it makes us so angry to know that we have communities that literally cannot buy the kind of wonderful fresh produce that is all around us here in this warehouse.
There's such a high demand for this, for these markets in our communities, because we have a right to access those healthy foods like anybody else in the city.
Fruits and vegetables are so overpriced that people won't buy it and it goes bad on the shelf. There's a lot of misconception between that too. They think that we're not buying the food because we don't know how to cook it or use it.
The food are being used in 3 different programs. They use in a student nutrition program. They make different boxes, same as our Good Food box. And the remaining food, they set up the market.
It's a bit more security, yeah, to have a box.
I have 4 members in my family, and this food box, I think this is enough for a week maybe. Plus we have to buy some loose vegetables from here.
It is Gigi's stories of how the kids feel about the quality that have been so moving to us.
I find that when they get theirs from the northern store, it's like more drier than the market. Healthier, I guess. Yeah, fresh.
In the rush to get the limited quantities that we are able to bring in, community members are very respectful of each other and of the limits that they see that we have, and leave some behind for the next family.
You know, we've been doing this for a few years, but mostly just in the last year, more regular. So word is getting out to other communities, and of course they want to know how can they do it too. There's always people in every community that are interested in doing that kind of thing and helping their community.
Food Share is a small, local Toronto charity. We don't have millions, let alone billions, to correct these massive problems.
What Gigi and Joan are doing here, it's such a great thing, and I'm so proud to see this happening at the community level. They see an issue and they're tackling it head on.
There's a great atmosphere at the market itself. Like, people are talking and laughing and smiling and enjoying themselves, sharing stories about food, and yeah, it's a very good feeling. I think that what this market is doing here is allowing us to take pleasure in food again. We're proving that stereotype wrong about the choices that we're making, about preferring pop and chips and white bread and unhealthy food to fresh, tasty, quality produce.